Okay, so I kind of want to get right into this as because of what's happened in the past few minutes, before starting this recording. I wanted to skip one because I didn't. I have my list of the order that I should be doing these readings and stuff in, and the one that was next after the last fan fiction reading, the first reading of Black Sun, was a story called Abused, which I was like, okay, I don't actually want to do that one. Why is it on here in the first place? And the next one that on that list was a story called What Does It Matter, which I can't seem to find. So, this one, Her Kitty, which we're doing really quickly because it's 25, or we're starting it early because it's 25 parts, and yeah, okay. Oh boy, and this may not even become a video. This story may get a little not safe for work, so yeah, I don't really want to read that stuff. So I'll just kind of try to not. Anyways, after the Vital Festival, everyone went back to their individual school and began their next semester. This was not including the ones from Beacon. Ruby and Weiss were both out of their dorm and most likely doing their own thing, and Yang left the dorm to go buy something quite some time ago. Blake was alone in the dorm room. She was reading one of her books. That's when Yang came back. Blake quickly hid the book under the covers of the bed so that the blonde didn't see what she was reading. To be honest, she didn't really want anyone to know what she was reading. It was kind of sappy, and someone like her would probably not be the kind of person to read that stuff. What are you doing? The blonde asked, staring up on the bed in the direction of the raven-haired faunus. Nothing at all. Just don't ask about it, okay? Blake managed to stay still, trying to hide her book. You're clearly hiding something. I'm not stupid, Blake, Yang said, walking towards the other female's bed. There's nothing, trust me, Blake insisted, still trying to keep Yang away. Oh, come on. If you're not going to show me, then I won't give you the gift I bought for you, the blonde huntress said with a smirk, revealing a black book from behind her back. Ooh, interesting. What the... Okay. Chapter 2. Blake was not expecting Yang to be the kind of person that bought gifts. Fauna simply stared down at the blonde. If you're still not going to tell me, I'm just going to have to come up there and find out myself. Oh. Yang stated as he began to climb onto Blake's bed. That's really not necessary if you don't have to come up here, the raven-haired female defensively said. I really do, though, Yang said as she got onto the bed and Blake, Yang said, determined to get the answer. I said it before, and I'll say it again. It's nothing, Blake said, sitting up slightly, staring into the blonde's eyes. Fine, then. I guess you don't mind when I do this, Yang exclaimed, pulling the covers off the bed. The blonde huntress simply laughed when she saw that Blake went through all the trouble to hide a book. Seriously, Blake? You know I'm not going to judge you based on what you read. In fact, I already knew, which is why I got you this. Yang smiled as she handed the black book to Blake. Chapter 3. Blake's secret was revealed to Yang, except the blonde already knew it, which I guess doesn't really make it a secret. Just don't tell Ruby or Weiss, okay? Blake said right on cue as the two before mentioned females walked through the door. Hey guys, we're back, Yang exclaimed before looking upwards and seeing Yang sitting on top of Blake. It's not what it looks like, Yang said calmly. Blake's face blushed a deep red. Not what it looks like? It looks like you are mounting Blake, Weiss said. Okay. Sending a glare at the two on the bed. Look, I was trying to hide something from Yang, and then she came up and tried to get me an offer. She didn't. So what if I am mounting her? Maybe she wanted me to, Yang said as she stayed in her position firmly. Ooh boy. By the look on her face, she doesn't want you to be there, Yang, Weiss remarked, attempting to help Blake out of her current situation. At this point, it felt like Yang was never going to move. Oh boy. Chapter 4. Yang, seriously, get off me, Blake said, trying to push the other female, or the Okay. Guessing that it's supposed to mean other, not over. Other female officer. Nah, I'm just gonna stay here. Don't judge my life choices, Yang exclaimed, maintaining your position on top of the cat furnace. If Blake wants you to move, then move, Yang. Weiss yelled, walking towards the bed, attempting to pull Yang off Blake. Come on, Yang. You can clearly see Blake is uncomfortable, so just move. Ruby sighed at her sister. Don't make me leave. Stop. Just get off. Blake exclaimed, getting very red in the face. Fine. Be that way, Yang sighed, before jumping down from the top bunk. Thank you, Blake sadly sighed. Sadly sighed, finally having the bond off of her. Jeez, okay. Moving on. You guys ruin all my fun, Yang said, folding her arms across her chest. That's your idea of fun? You were sitting on top of me. I don't think that's very fun. Blake replied, looking down at the blonde from the top bunk. Well, Blake, you're lucky we came back when we did, or Yang might have never came off you. Ruby said, adding a slight giggle to the words, causing Weiss to glare at the younger female. It would have ended two ways. Yang gave up after... Oh, God. Yang gave up after trying... Yang gave up trying after a few hours, or Blake finally gave in and let Yang do whatever she wanted to her. Weiss said with a calm tone in her voice before she added, Me and Ruby were called up for a mission, by the way, so you two enjoy yourselves while we're gone. They said, but not too much fun. We don't want Blake to be getting pregnant and having a litter of kins. The red-hooded female giggle. Once again. You do know Yang couldn't impregnate me if she tried, right? Ruby said, staring at Blake. Ruby said, what the f*** at Ruby? But I can try, Yang hummed, tapping Blake on the nose before Weiss and Ruby left the room, with Blake waving them out. Oh, good God. Okay. Chapter 6. Yang grinned excitedly as she saw the other two leave the room. Her semblance heating up slightly as she was excited. Her blonde hair changing to more golden yellow. Well, looks like we're alone again, Blakey. She teased, walking slowly towards the furnace. Blake stared down at the blonde, attempting to hide under the covers on the bed she was still in. Yang, just leave me in the mood. Leave me alone. I'm not in the mood for this right now, she said, sighing slightly. Yang's only response was to fake cough, drawing the furnace's attention to her. You sure? I can cheer you up if you give me the chance. I don't like it when you're a sad kitty. Oh, God. I don't like it when you're a sad kitty, Yang said, leaning against the bed, pulling the covers down so Blake's face was uncovered. I'm sure. Just don't try to cheer me up. There's nothing you can do, Blake said, sadly, causing Yang to remove the rest of the covers. Oh, come on, Blakey. Don't be like that, she said, gifting the raven-haired female a small kiss on the cheek. Or on her cheek. Chapter 7. Jeez. Blake's face blushed a deep red. She stared down at the blonde, attempting to hide her blush using a pillow. Yang, what the hell was that for? She said rather loudly. Yang simply stared up at the fauna with a serious look. Just be anything except sad, she said, kissing the raven-haired female once again. Blake only got more red in the face, backing away to the wall. Yang got onto the bed with the fauna saying, Come on, kitty, don't be like that. Wait, what? Okay, that was a little bit bad grammar there, but whatever. Okay. Update. Alright, sweet. We can skip it. Wait. Jesus. Update. Volume 2. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. Okay, let's go. Move on. They exchanged glances from across the bed. Purple eyes locked with golden eyes. Neither dared to speak up. They just kept their eye contact before the blonde began to move closer to the raven-haired huntress. And she finally spoke after what seemed like an eternity of silence. Come on, kitty. She responded to a tight hug. Fine, but if Ruby and Weiss come home, I'm denying everything. Alright? Interesting. Alright. Yang practically lunged forward and pulled Blake into a hug after hearing her words. She had full consent to do whatever. Oh boy. Blake gave the blonde a curious look, but hugged her back nonetheless. Soon enough, she found herself on her back and pinned to the bed. Jesus Christ. Um, Yang had decided she would get more done if Blake was under her, so she swiftly pushed her onto her back and lay on top of her, smirking triumphantly down at the fawn as she slowly leaned down and kissed her several times across the neck, her hands keeping the raven. Blake stared at Yang and watched her as she pinned her to the bed. She knew giving her permission was a bad idea, but she knew the pond prowler wouldn't stop bugging her until she did, and this wasn't the first time this has happened. Yang would then happily kiss Blake on the cheek and begin to remove the cat faunus' bow and expose her kitten ears to her. Blake, I forgot how cute you look without it on, Yang would say, leaning down to deliver a gentle kiss on Blake's left faunus ear. Blake would shiver greatly at her faunus ear being kissed. They were always sensitive, and this wasn't helping not a single bit. Though she couldn't shake the feeling that it felt good. Sensitive in a good way, perhaps. Oh. Chapter 11. And a good feeling it was indeed. It felt much better the second and third time the Yang kissed her faunus ears. The cat faunus would begin to happily purr just out of pure instinct. And now she was purring. Yang found this adorable, to say the least. So she kept going with her soft kisses to Blake's cat ears. She showed no signs of stopping anytime soon. Okay. Yang, stop. Blake complained as she attempted to not enjoy the kissing, but Yang was too smart for that trick and quickly smirked, the next kissing going straight to the faun's lips. Blake's eyes widened and she wouldn't and couldn't pull away as quickly as it was started, it was deepened. Yang looking at Blake's cold lips in an attempt to get her to open them just the slightest, and her wish was granted and her tongue was given passage into the cat's mouth. Ugh. Why? Do I even want to do this anymore? Like, just why? I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Just gonna skip that last line. You mind if I skip all this? just, whatever. Whatever. Good. Pound this fanfic. So, the stupidity of this is where it gets a little ridiculous. 2 days later, after a bunch of that stuff that I just skipped. So, in short, Ruby and Weiss were basically there the whole time, seeing what would happen. And they came back in the room, and yeah, this happened. Blake, I'm bored, Yang said with a sigh. Weiss and Ruby were gone again, but this time they had took precautions to make sure Yang and Blake didn't do what they did a couple days ago. Blake had a pet collar on, and was tied down to her bed. As for Yang, they couldn't find chains strong enough to hold her, so she was fully free to do whatever. However, Blake was also wearing a muzzle to prevent her being kissed, which was, just lovely, because that's stupid. And her arms were tied up in front of her. Yeah, well, what am I supposed to do about that? Blake asked, rather annoyed annoyed that she had to take most of the bondage due to Yang being far too strong for her own good. Want some help, kitten? The blonde girl asked as she glanced to Blake, who just gave her best attempt at a head shake. We just get into more trouble if we did, so maybe we should just leave it as is, the cat faunus explained to the blonde. It was silent for a few moments before Blake spoke up again. Yang, my nose is itchy, the faunus said with a light sigh. Yang just gave a chuckle as she moved over and leaned down in front of Blake, sliding a finger through the muzzle and scratching Blake's itchy nose. Thank you, she said with a sigh of contentness. No problem again, Yang said with a warm smile, continuing to scratch Blake's nose. Cat faunus then began as if she didn't want it to be heard. Yang did hear and smirked as she kept going. I have the cutest kitty, she teased. Oh boy. Okay. I. All right, fine. We're just gonna not worry about it. All right. Blake just continued to purr gently as Yang inched her nose, a wide smirk on the blonde's face. Yang slipped his second finger in through the muzzle and searched around for the lock that kept it closed. Eventually, she found it and messed around with it a little. Finally, it came loose and dropped to the floor with a metallic clank. Yang, I thought I said keep it on me, Blake called out with a slight hint of annoyance in her voice. Relax, kid. We'll put it back on your mouth, or your pretty little mouth before Sis and Ice Queen get back, okay? Yang explained with a reassuring smile. Blake sighs as she gives a slight nod. All right, but don't take anything else off. I don't want you under too much stress to get it back on me, the faunus said, much to Yang's dismay, as the bot really wanted to fully free her girlfriend. Okay, Yang said disappointedly. She slowly leaned forwards and placed several kisses along Blake's neck and jaw. Eventually, their lips meet. I immediately went into Blake's and okay, we'll just skip that. uh, hmm, hmm. Just then, the door handle shook. Yang panicked, quickly picking up the muzzle and made a hurried attempt at putting the muzzle back on Blake. It was barely on her once the door opened, revealed not who they were expecting. It was Nora from a couple of dorms away. She began to ask something, but her sentence was immediately cut short by the scene that she saw before her. You know, if you're gonna be kinky, at least have the decency to put a sign on the door or something, jeez. And before they could get a word in, Nora left. Well, that was strange. Blake said with a sigh. Yang simply grinned at Blake. Nora's sentence giving the blonde such dirty thoughts on what the two could be doing instead of just kissing. Yay! Chapter 17! Oh boy. Yang quickly pounced on Blake and began to undo the chains about her girlfriend. Blake struggled to get free from Yang's grip as she didn't want the chains off her, but Yang was stronger than her and she couldn't exactly fight back. Once the chains were undone, Yang picked Blake up in her arms and hopped up onto her bed. A light smile on her face. Yang, what are you doing? Oh God. Yang, what are you doing? The cat going to pleasure the kitty, was her explanation, making Blake blush even more. Yang, don't tease me like that, she sighed. Who said I'm teasing, she asked. And then we move on, and then of course we have this chapter, and then we move along. Wake the shit up, Blake, the blonde yelled, shaking the cat faunus and attempting to get her out of it. It had all been a dream. Wah, wah. Blake felt slightly annoyed that she didn't get to see Yang fully naked, but she decided to get up anyway. Yang seemed distant from Blake. Usually she would be all over, especially while she was getting dressed. Was something wrong? Blake had to know, so she was determined to find out for herself. She quickly got behind Yang and hugged her from behind, getting an odd reaction from the blonde. What do you think you're doing? She quickly pushed the faunus off her, making for a very sad Blake. Yang? Blake whimpered ever so gently, tears filling up her eyes. She'd never seen the blonde so angry at her before. She'd never seen Yang push someone away when they tried to... Just leave me alone, Yang mumbled, looking away from the sad kitten. At least look at me, Blake demanded, twitching out in response. So she grabbed anything she needed in short notice and ran out the dorm and presumably out of Beacon. Blake? So, Chapter 20. Have you seen this cat? Blake, Yang screamed in the dark streets of Beacon. Blake, she screamed again, even though it was this time. Please, Blake. It was no use. Blake had disappeared into the night. When... Wait, what? Into the night when she ran off. She even stopped to ask people if they'd seen her, bringing the team photo they all had on them, of course, pointing to Blake in the photo when needed. Around her eyes were stained with red from where she had been crying. That's when she saw it. No, Blake wouldn't. She couldn't go back to them. She saw the recruitment building for the White Fang. It wasn't much of a building. It was a rundown warehouse in a back alleyway. Yang put on her gauntlets and loaded them up. I'm coming for you, kitty. She wiped her tears away and knocked the door down, only to see her beloved cat fawn as the center stage. Female wolf fawn lowering a white fang mask on Blake's face. And now for the initiation, the wolf smirked and pressed a kiss to Blake's lips. Yes, this is the last chapter, apparently. Why, thank you for the warm welcome, Selena. Blake smiled as she stood. She was being treated like a queen by the White Fang. Welcome back with open arms. But I'm sorry, I won't be staying long. Blake made eye contact with Yang and gave a gentle smirk. She pulled her blade out of its sheath and immediately went to taking down everyone that welcomed her. Yang was shaking. She thought she was being betrayed. But Blake was taking them down all on her own. She was so proud. Yang went to help her, and soon they were fighting side by side until he arrived. Blake and Yang both stared him down before Yang launched off the floor and went directly to punch the stupid mask off his face. It happened so fast. One minute Yang was launching towards him, the next the cat farce was escorting the bond to the hospital, protecting her now stubborn arm from getting infected. Blake had unwrapped some bandages from her arms in order to protect Blake sighed gently, blaming herself for this mistake. Well, so even though technically that isn't really the end of the story, because there has to be something more going into this, yeah. So basically they decided to turn the story from what it was into something more dark and, I don't know, sad or something, I don't know. Whatever. So apparently it was last updated July, which kind of sucks, and that means it probably won't be updated for, ever. And they're probably done with it, but yeah. So basically that's where we're going to have to end it. If you wanted to actually read the parts that I didn't read, because, I don't want to read those parts, just I don't really want to, then, you can go ahead and find them for yourself. I think we're done here.